Dad, what's up? We're recording the pod right now, and you are live. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
What's news? Today, big day for the Gallerati family.
What happened with the Gallerati family?
Big day.
Why?
We got a new refrigerator.
Ooh.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati here, joined by old Lynch.
Hey, Giulio. Hey, everybody.
Ryan Lynch, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you guys for tuning in, listening to Oops, rocking with us. Somebody made a comment about the Plant Boy looking rough. I would just like to clarify, the Plant Boy is not looking rough. A couple of his leaves were a little burnt. Mm-hmm. That does happen when he gets direct sunlight. Shout out to Jackie T, who gives us all the Plant Boy advice. She is actually fully responsible for the Plant Boy blooming. He currently has 6 white leaf things happening.
He looks healthy to me.
He looks amazing, dude. I'm going to take a picture of him in his current form. I'll even make it a video so we can do it. Look at that, dude. Look at those. Look at that shit. Unbelievable.
That's the Plant Boy cam right there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
We love that. We're out here crushing it. Thank you guys for buying merch, doing the whole thing. We love you. And Ryan, tell us a little bit about what I'm eating right here. So first of all, it was a very ethnic word with this bread that Victoria, your girlfriend, has made for us. It's delicious, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It's called chureg.
Chureg.
It's an Armenian sweet bread.
It's delicious.
And she baked it last night, or she prepared the dough last night, and she baked it this morning. And it's the best batch she's ever made, so I had to bring some over for you.
It's delicious. Also, I was like, oh, should I eat it on the episode? And Ryan reminded me that it's bad podcasting to be eating during the episode.
I've heard that's a very naughty thing to do behind the microphone, so we can't do it.
Very naughty thing indeed. And dude, I've been getting treated left and right over these past couple of weeks, so I feel pretty good. Thank you for bringing this over. Last night,
of course,
our friends Casey and Rudy took us to dinner to celebrate our engagement.
Oh, that's nice.
So sweet of them. We went to this place called Monkey Bar, which is near us, and it's like a well-known place, I guess. It's the same person who made the menu at a couple of these places with famous burgers, so like Au Cheval being one of them, and a couple other places. And it was a delicious meal, great cocktails. A place with a great cocktail menu, man. There's really nothing like it. Mm-hmm. Just a fat mezcal Negroni. It was delicious. I only had 2, so I felt okay today. We had a great, memorable meal and a nice time, and we felt special.
That's nice.
It's nice to feel special, Ryan.
That's great. I like a cocktail bar that doesn't have a menu.
Oh, where you just tell them what you like?
You just tell them what you like?
There used to be this place called Milk and Honey here, and I think it's like a London originated thing. Uh-huh. And they'd be like, what do you like? And you'd be like, well, dude, I'd even be better at this now than I was then, because back then I didn't like as specific stuff. Now I'd be able to be like, mezcal, smoky, and they'd be like, ooh, I have just the thing for you.
Yeah.
They make it, bring it over.
Yeah. I think just from working with you guys and you guys talking about how much you love mezcal Negronis, the first time I had a Negroni, I hated it. And I hated it because I wanted to like it so badly. I wanted to be included. I remember Chris had one. He's like, yeah, they're pretty good. And I was really bummed out. I was really faking it.
That's a great Chris impression, dude.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. What? So,
dude, that's crazy.
Thanks. I talked to Chris last week, by the way. He's doing great.
Yeah.
I'm going to see him next week.
Oh, amazing. Good. We love Chris. Chris texted me being like, it's light weather jacket season, my friend.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
And I said to him, good to be here.
Absolutely.
It was nice. Francis likes the regular Negroni.
Uh-huh.
I like the mezcal Negroni. By the way, that is one of my other pet peeves. Instead of saying mezcal, when people say mezcal.
Mezcal.
It's really annoying. If you don't work at the place, dude, stop emphasizing the second syllable there. Mm-hmm. You're a turkey. Or unless you're some sort of like mixologist or native speaker of the language where mezcal comes from. I'm assuming Spanish. I have no idea, so I don't want to make assumptions. But
you need to be wearing a button down and a vest behind the bar to speak like that, I feel.
Dude, so a couple funny things, man. So first and foremost, my dad has some new ideas for the pod.
Okay, cool.
They aren't the best ideas I've ever heard, to be honest. But like I said to him, he goes, "What do you think? Are those ideas good?" And I said, "No, but I'll tell you what is a good idea. Me talking about how they aren't good ideas will then make it funny, and then we'll make people want to see it, and it will end up being a good bit ultimately because of the presentation. But it just as is, I'm not sure if it's making the cut."
What does Big G have for us?
So he's got a few here. I have a few good Big G discussions. Okay, so first of all, he said to me the other day, he goes, "You know what, man, Lynch is like scared of a lot of stuff." He's like, "Why is he so fearful?" I'm like, "All right, Dad, stop coming for Lynch, dude." He goes, "We should have an episode where I try to make Lynch less scared."
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, dude, that's very vague, but we'll give that a shot."
I wonder what he would try to do.
He'd be like, "Yeah, man, you don't have to be scared of turbulence. Like the plane," he'd probably just start telling you statistics to make you feel better. I'm not sure if he's thought through that more. And also, you don't seem then scared to me, but you do seem like a guy who can be pushed out of his comfort zone. So maybe he'll help you with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe he'll make suggestions of things that you guys can do together.
I'd like that, yeah.
That could be nice. Okay, so
that's not a bad idea.
Not a terrible idea. Number 2, when I was a kid, he had songs where he would chase my brother and I around, and we each had our own specific song. And he would do the song, and when we heard the song, we go, "Oh no!" And then we'd run, and he'd try to chase us to tickle us, right? It's just cute and fun, fun dad stuff. He's a good dad. And he goes, "Do you remember yours?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "No, you don't. You don't remember it." I go, "Yes, I do." He goes, "Okay, then do it." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "How about for an episode, I do the song and I chase you around?"
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't think you were going to go there. Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, dude.
You knock over a ton of stuff.
All right, man. Well, let's do that." But yeah, we'll have to sort of like do it ceremonially, because if we're actually trying to escape from each other, we would knock over a lot of stuff. He's calling me right now. Should we answer?
Let's do it. Yeah, of course. This makes sense.
Dad, what's up? I'm on we're recording the pod right now, and you are live. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
What's news? Today, big day for the Gallerati family.
What happened with the Gallerati family?
Big day.
Why?
We got a new refrigerator.
Ooh. Hey, Big G, it's Ryan.
Ryan's here. We have Lynch.
Lynch.
How you doing?
Lynch. We were just running through your 2 pod ideas. Number 1, making Ryan less scared, and number 2, chasing me around while you do the chase song. Can you do the chase song right now for us? Because I just did it.
You do it again. Do it.
Right? Do it. Very nice. Okay, the new refrigerator. Tell us more about the new refrigerator.
It's a little bit smaller, and we found out cleaning out the old one, we got stuff in there from last year.
Oh, so that's good. Do a little spring cleaning, and now we got a new refrigerator. I heard that you told me about this previously. I heard that they give you a nice deal on the delivery fee.
Yeah, it's very, very cheap. And so I thought it'd be a good deal to buy. Butch has been calling us, trying to find out when it's coming.
Nice. I'm glad
Big
he's
deal.
invested.
Yeah,
He's invested.
Like it,
He's going to come over and check it out?
probably.
Excellent.
It's a big thing. That's how exciting our lives are.
Okay, so sorry. What were you saying? Okay, well, while I have you here, I have a quick question for you, because I was about to bring this up, and now that we're talking to you, this is perfect. So you are very excited that you now are going to have a daughter, Hill Dog.
Hill of Beans.
Hill of Beans.
He's been calling her Hill of Beans. Tell us more about that. You're excited to have a daughter finally?
Yeah, and it took, Josh Griffo to help me ascertain that I now have a daughter. If you have a daughter, oh my God.
So Hillary is stressed out that my dad is going to call her during work. And what she doesn't understand, if he's in the car, he just calls whoever. So I know if he calls me and I don't answer, he's not upset. He just calls. If I'm around, we'll chat. If I'm not, it's all good. So she's like, does he know that I can't answer all the time? I said, yes, don't worry about it. He's not going to be mad. He just wants to call and chat with his daughter. If you're not around, he's not going to care. And if you are, you guys will chat, right? Is that a fair assessment?
Well, is she there?
No, she's not.
No, it's not true. I want her to answer all the time.
Okay, well, I'll pass that along. I'll tell her that I still think you're kidding.
Try to figure more ways that I can suffocate her.
Excellent. All right, Dad, we're going to keep recording. Thank you for calling in.
Big G,
unintentionally.
I look
Hold on,
forward.
Ryan has something for you.
I look forward to you conducting our first therapy session to help me overcome my fears pretty soon.
Did you hear that? He said he looks forward to having his first therapy session with you to help him overcome his fears.
We're going to work it out because I've been using, psychological theories to straighten myself out. And I think they definitely help you to get over your fear of, I also have a knife for you next time you go camping.
Oh, thank you. Perfect. I'm looking forward to it. It's good to hear from you.
All right, Dad. Sayonara. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye. Big G, folks. We did not plan that. That literally
great.
just happened live.
That's live podcasting.
And you just love to see it, dude. You just love to see it. So, dude, I don't know how you feel about this, but sometimes it's interesting. I like that in New York, there appears to be wider regulation on Uber drivers, because when you get in an Uber in New York, you pretty much know what to expect. It's going to be a guy with like a commercial license of some sort, and they are consummate professionals. Like, they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to there's not going to be any wild cards. There's not going to be like toys in the back seat or bullshit, or, you know what I mean? Or weird air fresheners. Like, I don't know. You're not going to, it's not a thing where you're like, all right, let's see how it goes here. But in other cities, dude, like, you are running the risk of having like a true experience with an Uber driver.
You got a talker.
Or even better, dude. I was in Nashville for a wedding a few weeks ago, and the guy who took me to the airport in the car. So first of all, all of his army clothes were in the back seat. In the trunk. So when I put myself in the trunk, there was just a bunch of clothes in the trunk, which is fine. But there's a bunch of Army, like Navy, whatever. I think it was Marines, actually. And then his license plate was like a Marines license plate too. And I was like, okay, like whatever, it's fine. But like, it just felt intrusive. Like, I know more about this guy than I want to know, whatever. So I'm in the car. This guy is blasting Young Dolph. Okay, now we're in Tennessee, whatever. So like, but he's R.I.P. Young Dolph, but he's blasting Young Dolph, dude, and he's just blowing clouds with his vape. Clouds, dude. He had like a rig. He had one of those vapes where like your whole hand is holding it. Like
a radio, like a police radio scanner.
Like, yes, exactly. As if you're holding a burrito. You need to hold this thing. He's blasting clouds, and he even had a thing dangling of the vape store that he must go to regularly. He may even own it, but literally a thing that said the name of the vape. And I think the name of the vape store had something involving clouds in it too. I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it here. But I was like, dude, this is just like, and it was fun and funny, but like, clearly the regulations are just simply not the same down there.
Was it a weed vape?
No, dude. It was like a regular, it had something to do with clouds in the title. I didn't write that.
Those vaporizers, is there nicotine in them, or is it just like vaporized air? So
by the way, they make a non-nicotine vape now, which is pretty awesome. But no, these are like very much nicotine vapes, dude. But this guy was super mild-mannered, really nice, but like, still, it was like a bit of a flex to like, and granted, maybe like, and I don't think it was one of those things where he saw me bobbing my head, so he felt he could raise the volume. He just had the volume blasting, dude. He didn't give a fuck. And then he was like, all right, man, have a nice flight. I was like, mind blown. Yeah, that's a good point. It is never a concern when you're opening the trunk to put your luggage in the back seat of a New York City Uber. But if you're in the suburbs, there could be groceries back there. Exactly. Or anything like that. My buddies in college, they went to take an Uber to New Haven from Hamden, and the driver had her son in the back seat in a car seat, like a 4-year-old boy, and it was he took up one of the seats. So it's like it was a regular Uber X, which I think seats 4 people, and they had 4. Now it seats 3, but at the time it was 4. Yeah, this was like 6 years ago, and the group was 4 guys. But there was a 4-year-old in the back seat, so they had to sit on each other's lap. That was a wild ride. Dude, that wouldn't happen here.
That wouldn't happen here.
That would never happen here, dude. That's
a good
nuts.
point, dude.
Good for her though. Like in that situation, you just have to just feel bad for her.
Oh,
like, you're not
100%.
gonna narc her out on that.
No, and they weren't ripping on her either. But just
You know.
in the suburbs, completely different.
It's completely different. You just truly don't know what you're gonna end up with, dude. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild. One time in Nashville, I had a guy pick us up who told us he was a comedian and then played his set for us, dude, while we were driving. And like one of the people, I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, I'm a comedian too. I just like let him rock, you know. And one of the people in the car with us was like, okay, that's enough.
No.
I was like, good for you. Fuck that guy, dude. He's like taking us hostage.
Yeah.
With bullshit.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's going on with you, bro? How's your life? Any updates for us? Things?
Things are good. I went to the Italian food festival last week in Little Italy.
Oh, nice. How was that?
So the idea of going to the food festival is always better than the food festival itself.
It's always the same. It's like the same vendors as any. It's like cups of watermelon, zeppole.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some fun stuff there though. But tell me more.
It's just, you know, the idea. You're like, oh, I'm going to sample some really good food, and, you know, there's live music. And then you show up and there is just so many people, and you have to buy tickets to get certain food items, which there's a really long line for. And there's other places that don't take the tickets and you need to pay only cash. There's some places that only take Venmo. Every vendor was different. And then the lines to get the food were also the walkways for everybody.
So you couldn't get by?
No, it was, and if you were in line, you're getting bumped by everybody. So if you were trying to go up one block, you know, the types of people that you're around, they're every type of person. So there's somebody that isn't paying attention, looking at their phone. There is another person going against the one-way traffic.
God, the worst.
There are people with double strollers with kids in them on a sidewalk going against the grain. Like it's madness.
That's worse than having your kid in the Uber, dude.
Terrible. So like I was there for 5 minutes and I was like, I'm over this. I'm so over this.
You tapped out.
Well, no, we stuck around. We were there with another couple and Victoria, and she loved it. And so we stayed in line for a couple things, and it's such a good idea on paper. It is so brutal.
Doesn't fully
in
work
person.
out.
I was so excited to leave.
Yeah, Little Italy has really sort of diminished in Manhattan as well, and like Chinatown has kind of slowly swallowed it. And there's just like a very small street, and most of it's like tourist traps. But there's a little bit of charm preserved there still, dude. I remember one time at that festival, there was one of those things where there was a guy sitting and talking shit, and you try to throw a ball at the target, and he falls into the water. You know those? And I think my dad walked by or something, and the guy like insulted my Big G. He like called him, he like commented on his body, said something rude.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, really? And dude, I went up and I paid, and on the first try, I fucking dunked him.
Main character G.
Fuck you, dude.
Damn, dude, that's great.
I know, that was badass. I was pretty psyched about that.
So we were in a really, really clogged area, and we were just trying to get to the sidewalk. So we're in the middle of the street, which is closed off. And there was a guy that was working for a bar, but one of the bars on the street, but he was selling balloons. And then I was trying to finagle my way through a ton of people. And there was one of those, what are those signs? The fold out signs, just that have the happy hour deals on them.
What are the ones that are like caution when wet?
No, it was for the restaurant. It usually has like a savvy little pun on it.
But it was like a teepee thing? Okay.
It was a TP thing. I made eye contact with the guy as I was trying to go towards him to get to the sidewalk, and he picked up the sign and he put it in front of the only gap of area that I would have been able to walk through.
In order to try to get you to go in?
No, in order to prevent me from going past him.
Because he wanted you to go in his restaurant.
No. You know what? Never mind. I didn't explain that well enough.
No. But why wouldn't he want you to go past him?
Okay. So he has a sign by the sidewalk.
Correct.
And I think he was also selling balloons. So maybe he didn't even work at the restaurant.
What?
Maybe he didn't work at the restaurant. This guy is selling
so he
balloons.
was moving the sign to facilitate his balloon selling.
Yes, because he's okay. Let's try this, guys. So the guy was selling balloons at the corner. Okay, to his right was a sign for a bar/restaurant. And there was a gap of about 3 to 4 feet between him and the sign. So people were able to walk through in between him.
Got it.
He was trying to barricade that area so that the only people that were going to walk near him were people that were going to get balloons. So once he saw that I saw the gap, I was leading the group.
Got it.
And I said, guys, let's go this way. Let's go this way. We're going to get onto the sidewalk and out of this
And he
crazy
stopped
mess.
that walkway, so that instead of going through, you had to go around.
Yeah, so he saw me and he picked up the sign and he placed it in between the gap, because to the right of it was like the outdoor seating barricade. And so I picked up the sign and I moved it back and I said, thank you.
Got it.
And that was it. There we go. Landed the plane. Thank you
Landed the
guys.
plane.
Thanks
Well
for your
done.
patience.
Well
Thanks for
done,
your
Ryan.
patience. Continue.
And you hate to see it, dude. Listen, when there's scarce space, people get crazy out there.
Yeah.
And the balloon man was trying to sell some balloons. I get it, dude. It reminded me of something, though, in Little Italy. And this should be an obvious thing to everybody, but if it isn't, heed my words. Anybody who's promoting their restaurant on the sidewalk, that restaurant may not be that great. It may be okay, but if you're in an area where people are doing that, chances are you're in an area where there are really good restaurants.
Yeah.
So while the place, oh, please come in. They put a pretty girl in the street or whoever. Oh, well, come, whatever. They tell you the deal. Chances are that may not be the spot.
Yeah.
You may still be pretty good. And shout out to people for hustling. It can be tough when you're in a saturated neighborhood and there's a ton of restaurants. But if people are in the street barking you in, it's the same rule for a comedy show. If people are at comedy show tonight, probably not as good of a show as what you might be able to see at the stand where they don't do that. So that's all I got. A little bit of advice, but pretty good.
Julia, what are you drinking right now?
Dude, I got a little Fuel America coffee in my cup, man. And I'll tell you what, with how dynamic my life has been lately, and you all know I love traveling a ton, I don't know where I would be without coffee. I come home, my life is in shambles. I'm like, how am I I need to do my laundry. I need to leave again. My bag's packed. I'm like, should I unpack? I have to leave tomorrow. I should just keep my stuff. My life has been wild. And I really have to thank Fuel America Coffee for keeping me in line. Guys, what an amazing coffee. As good as your favorite hip coffee with a slightly grittier vibe. If you go to shop.fuelamericacoffee.com, you can look through all their different blends and roasts. They have a bunch of different stuff. Everything that you would need. They have decaf, dark roast, medium roast, all the good stuff. Espresso, which I'm a really big fan of. Grinding up some of those beans. They're nice and fresh. Throwing them in the OG Italian espresso maker. Putting it on the stove. Rock and roll. Ready to go. It's close to my heart too, because there's a brick and mortar location right across from my first apartment in Boston. Fuel America started in New England, but slowly sweeping across the globe. You might recognize it from seeing it on the shelves in stores, and hopefully now from listening to our podcast. We also have an amazing discount to offer. I will say this, it's tough to come by everyday items that have significant discounts like this, because people are going to buy it anyway, so people know they got you by the cajones. So they don't give you that good of a discount. Our discount is 20% off of your coffee. And it's already a fairly priced coffee to begin with. 20% off of your order, and it's $5 flat shipping, which I know has been something that we've gotten pushback about before from some of our old partners, was that the shipping costs could kind of get crazy. In the lower 48 is flat fee, $5 shipping. So go get yourself some Fuel coffee. If you're going to drink coffee anyway, it is a delicious coffee. I really love it, and it has changed the way that I drink coffee. I've been drinking it more regularly. I'm feeling alert and happy. So go to shop.fuelamericacoffee.com. Use promo code OOPSBEANS for 20% off of your order. Shop.fuelamericacoffee.com. That's FUEL, americacoffee.com. For 20% off when you use promo code OOPSBEANS. Try some out. Let us know. Send us pictures of you drinking it. We love all that stuff, and we love our friends over at Fuel. Get yourself some Fuel. It's the way to go. I went on a pretty good adventure myself. First of all, before I bring that up, and these dates do not coincide, but it just reminded me, I am really sorry about Detroit, everybody. I had been excited about that show forever. I had tons of personal friends coming. I had a big thing come up that I couldn't not do. So I really apologize. I realize the nature of that is selfish, but I sort of got to do what I got to do type of thing. And I really apologize. And I'm willing to make it up to anybody who found themselves in a really shitty situation because I canceled that show, 3 or 4 days before. So I'm really sorry. And I look forward to coming back someday, and I hope you'll forgive me. So that's it.
Cool.
Before that, the weekend before that, I was with our pal PD, who I don't know why I feel the impulse to try to protect him by not saying his name out loud, but I think it's a good impulse. I want to protect him more than I want to use him to.
You haven't said it once yet, so I'd stick with it.
Yeah, we'll stick with PD. You guys all know who I'm talking about. Brought me on the road for a couple gigs. We were really living the high life on this gig. There's some PJs involved. It was super sick. And when I was younger, I flew on a PJ a couple times. I had a girlfriend who flying on the PJ.
Sorry, I thought you meant you guys got pajamas, but you were talking about a private jet.
Ryan, that's so cute.
Private jet.
Here, guys, I got you all pajamas. Thanks, PD.
I could see that.
No, 100%. I should have clarified. And I'm just like feeling embarrassed because it's like embarrassing to brag about flying on a private jet. But it was sick, dude. And you know what? I'm fine with that because that is not my everyday life. I'm not used to doing that. Therefore, if I get the opportunity to, I'm going to be excited. When I had a girlfriend who used to fly private, I wanted to act like I had been there before, so I wouldn't comment on it. I wouldn't be like, this is so sick. I wouldn't take any pictures. I wouldn't, because I was just like I didn't want it to seem, it wasn't about impulse, but it's also like, there's a happy medium. There's a happy medium between being so excited and pretending like this is normal. You know what I mean? So this time I was like, I'm not robbing myself of this experience. I'm going to be excited outwardly. And I had a really nice time. And I'll tell you what, it really does improve the experience. Somebody else, one of my agents mentioned this to me, and this is an interesting point. I guess when you fly private, you fly at a different altitude sometimes, so it's not quite as taxing on the body. So that aids to the pleasurability of the experience, as well as the fact that you don't have to go through all the fucking hoopla. You know what I mean? None of the bullshit. So pretty cool.
Are there things on commercial flights that you do not have to deal with on private jets? For example, the safety check before. Do you get a talk from the pilot? Like what are some key differentiating factors that, besides it's luxurious, you have nice seats and everything like that. What are like some of the minute details of the difference? Interesting.
So, okay, that's a really good question. And I guess maybe it's not obvious. So you don't have to go to a regular airport security. And sometimes it might be at the same airport, but like you go in through a different entrance. They don't like do any security. They don't check your bags or anything really. Especially if you're just flying domestically, I think they might, if you fly international. I don't remember. I've only done that once or twice and it was a while ago. And the pilot will check everyone's IDs, but beyond that, there really isn't much. And there's usually one flight attendant, two pilots, and it's usually pretty hands off. There's like a bar of stuff. There's like snacks, whatever. I'm sure if there's a longer flight, there might be some like full meal service, which the one long flight we did, it was late at night. So we kind of all slept, and they did offer to like make a bed for us too. Like, cool. I think there's room for like 2 beds, and I'm sure they vary in aesthetic and all that, but yeah, super convenient.
Is the flight attendant just chilling in the same room as you, or do they also have their
own little
cubby?
Sort of like area that they can close off or open? But the pilots, you can see the pilots.
Yeah.
You can just kind of, it's not the way it is on the normal. It's pretty sweet, dude.
That's cool.
Pretty cool, gotta be honest. So yeah, dude, all in all, very cool trip. Very, very fun to just be involved. PD's a true mensch. He looks out for the boys. He's just a wonderful guy, and I'm really grateful to be involved. We were in San Francisco and Las Vegas. We had a quick stopover in Los Angeles, but we didn't do any shows. We kind of just hung out. And a couple funny things, dude. So we got into San Francisco pretty late, and we had flown from, we took off late from here, and obviously the time difference. So we got in late, but it felt even later, right? But we got in San Francisco. Everyone was excited. And our boy PD had the great idea. He's like, dude, why don't we take a little tour around San Francisco and check out all the like the houses from like movies that we love? So we're like, okay. So like very late at night, we're driving around San Francisco, going to the Full House. Then we go to the Mrs. Doubtfire house.
That's in San Francisco?
Yeah. We're looking up sort of like when they last sold, how much they sold for. Then we drove over the Golden Gate Bridge while blasting the Full House theme song.
Oh my God.
Dude,
that's a fever dream.
It was so fun. It was so sick, dude.
That sounds like so much fun.
It was really, really fun, man. And I know everybody says that like San Francisco has become pretty prickly these days. I'd like to understand that a bit more as to why. We were only there for a bit. I didn't really get to see anything that was too crazy. I know that I guess there's more homeless people than usual or whatever. But there's always the Pacific Northwest I've always sort of associated with, at least since I've been an adult, with a lot of homeless people. And I sort of wonder if part of that, I know that they say because there's like really liberal policies and that might have something that probably is the reason. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this. This is just what I've heard. But is there something to it as well that it's kind of like temperate all year? Like it's never extremely cold and it's never extremely hot. To me, that seems like the perfect conditions for being homeless, right?
As in not needing to leave,
like
go to a different place.
Not even leave.
Season,
it's just
migrate.
like, I don't know that they do. I mean, if they do, I'd love to learn about that. If homeless people are migrating, but I just think that they like tough it out in the cold. They have like 1,000 jackets or blankets or whatever, and they sleep in a box or a tent, and great. And in the summer, same thing. Like they try to go under bridges so that it's not as hot. I know in Los Angeles. So I wonder if the fact that I know that San Francisco gets kind of cold in the winter, but it doesn't get like really cold. It's not like New York cold, to my understanding. Yeah. So I wonder if that has something to do with it.
I'm sure someone that listens to the podcast could share some info with us on that. I have no idea. That's really interesting, though. That's a good question.
I'd be curious to hear more about it. So anyway, so that was cool. Dude, then have you ever been to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Cool.
A couple times, yeah.
You like it?
I only had great memories there. It's a beautiful city, so
It
it's
really
a shame.
is. I hate hearing about that shit, dude. There has to be some solution. But certainly, we cannot make policy that primarily favors the down and out so that the up and in cannot live their lives. You know what I mean? It needs to be a healthy medium where we try our best to take care of everybody. So I don't really know, whatever. That is my stance, having absolutely no specific knowledge about the situation. I've heard that people leave their cars unlocked with nothing in it, and they'll put a sign on the thing that says, please don't bash in the window. Car's open. I have nothing in the car.
I've seen that they roll their windows down to further, like, don't even bother breaking my window. There really is nothing in here. And
So,
if you want to check for yourself, come on in.
I like that, but the only problem with that, and this happened to me in New York, I left my door of my Jeep open one time by accident. Wasn't actually my Jeep. I borrowed it from a friend, but it was sort of like their extra car. And I went in the car in the morning and I was like, what the fuck? And I'm looking around and I see like just a cigarette butt like in the thing. And I realized that somebody just spent the night in my car, dude. So just somebody who was disgusting because it smelled like shit and like cigarette. And it looked like that cigarette, he'd been smoking it for like a week. Take a puff, keep it. And like, it was just truly gross. So that's the only risk you run is someone just moves into your car, dude.
Yeah, dude. That's why I don't have a car.
Yeah, dude.
That's why I don't have a car. Not because it's impossible to have one in the city.
Dude, my friend Charlie, he used to have this car where the windows didn't roll up. And he visited me in LA and he lived, I think, in Irvine at the time. I think he still does. And he visited and he's like, dude, the car doesn't roll up. He's like, do you think people are going to have sex in the backseat of my car? I was like, dude, what?
It kind of sounds like he wants people to have sex in the backseat of his car.
I'm like, dude,
What a horny
absolutely
guy.
not. I'm like, you should be more worried about a bird starting a family in your car.
Yeah.
That would be a realistic worry, but I don't think people are going to jump through the window and have sex. It's easy. You could just have sex on the sidewalk in LA, bro.
It'd be
it's
easier.
dark.
Have you ever had sex in a car?
I mean, maybe I may have at some point in my life.
I don't think that's an efficient way to hanky pank. I don't think that would be the first choice. I think you could do it anywhere if you're late at night out and about like that. If that's your situation, I think you don't really care where you're doing it.
100%. Okay. So anyway, we went from San Francisco. From San Francisco, we went to Los Angeles. We're in Los Angeles and I have something very nice to report. So many episodes back, I told a story about how I took my friend Phil and his girlfriend on a hike and they were really pissed at me because they said it was like the craziest hike in the world. They're like, you need to let people know in advance that you're taking them on this. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, and Hill Dog was egging him on. She's like, I know. He took early on in our relationship. He took me on this too. And blah, 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 blah. I'm like, guys, what the fuck? So anyway, and we're in LA. I decided I want to maybe go on a hike. So I hit up LeVar, who's one of the guys in the group, and I'm like, dude, do you want to go on this hike? And he was like, dude, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do it. LeVar is like a super fit guy. To me, I'm like, and I was like, it's like a pretty solid hike, just like I have to give this disclaimer because my friends got mad at me, so I don't know if I'm the one who's out of touch or what. He's like, oh, dude, no worries, I love hiking. I'm like, okay, that's great. Then he's like, I just need to get the car from Mike. So Mike's another guy in the group. Mike's like, I'd like to come too. And we're like, okay, great. So I tell him, I'm like, and Mike is a little bit older than us. Mike's is in fine shape, but he doesn't seem like a guy who exercises all the time. I might be judging, but it was possible that perhaps this would be a difficult hike for Mike. Didn't know for sure, but I mentioned, I'm like, listen, dude, it's like a pretty intense hike. Like as long as you're cool with that. He's like, yeah, of course. We fully do the hike. They both have the best time, don't complain a single time. And I was like, I was not the one who was wrong here. Sorry, Phil. Hate to break it to you, pal.
You got closure for yourself.
You're soft, Phil. You're soft.
Come on, Phil.
So anyway, that was nice to take them on the hike and have a good time. LA, nice. Dude, is a good city to visit because it just has so much good stuff.
Yeah.
Any problem you have with living there doesn't affect a visit there. There is just the most delicious, healthy food readily available. By stepping off the plane there, you lose 5 pounds. It's like the greatest place to be healthy, maybe on earth.
Yeah.
And everybody just looks amazing. We went to the gym and it became pretty clear to me that like the gym was filled with like people who have OnlyFans accounts. And I realized that the dream in LA has changed. It used to be you go to LA to be an actor, but now you go to LA to have sex in your room and make a lot of money. Right?
That sounds like a good deal.
I was like, dude, hell yeah. Good for all of you. You all look amazing. I'm a 3 in LA, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that?
Yeah. It's okay. Especially with this like shitty beard that I have. I don't have this on purpose. I'm filming something in a couple of days. I'm gonna have a mustache. Unless they tell me not to use the mustache, I've made the choice that I want the mustache. So I'm gonna shave this gross like patchy beard off, keep the mustache, and then shave that off too. Is the plan. We'll see if they let me keep it. But
Sweet.
So I'm there feeling like shaggy and kind of gross, and I'm like, you know what, dude, just is what it is.
I feel like your style would really translate well in LA.
Maybe.
You wear some pretty cool t-shirts.
Thank you, Ryan.
You've inspired a couple of wardrobe changes for me. Yeah, very subtle ones.
Tell me more.
Just like you had this, you used to wear this, sometimes you wear it, this Pixar Adidas.
You like that one? It's a good one,
t-shirt.
right?
I like the collaborations.
Totally.
And your comments that you've made in the past about wearing hats to dinner, that's been a fun fight to battle with Victoria. She's like, Ryan, please don't wear a hat. And I'm like, well, you know, it's New York City. Like, there's no dress code.
Yeah, hell
and
yeah.
So I adopted that from you, and you wear cool pants and stuff. Giulio's got good style, guys.
Thank
I'd
you,
say you're
Ryan.
at least a 4 in LA.
Ryan, that's very sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like my body, I'm just like not in passable shirtless shape. And there's been people who've DM'd and being like, dude, I'm sick of hearing you bitch about your body. Well, guess what, dude? I kind of go back and forth on how I feel about it. Part of me is like, dude, I look good and I like living a happy, fulfilling life. I don't like the idea of like making sacrifices for no reason. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not going to eat that delicious thing. Like, why? I don't have any like health problems. But then part of me is like, okay, eating clean also gives me a lot of energy. It makes my brain work better. That all is wonderful. And I think there's maybe a happy medium between those two that I'm still trying to find. So you can all fuck off. Anyone who said that, not the people listening to the show. You guys are all very supportive and sweet, and I appreciate it. But yeah, dude, LA just filled with healthy, delicious options, and it rocks, dude.
that's great. I got to get out there soon. It's been a long time since I've been to LA.
Well, Ryan, we got you booked on a show in New York City.
Yeah, you did. Literally, as you mentioned it on the episode last week.
Yeah.
A couple hours later, I got a text from Danny.
Yeah,
and
bro.
So thank you for that.
Of course, man. Of course. So Ryan is doing Danny Palmer's show.
It went well.
Yeah, that's great. I think that this is a fun juxtaposition, sort of like a guy in the middle of his comedy career versus a guy who's starting his comedy career.
Yeah, I feel
it's a fun thing to explore.
I feel grateful that I can ask you questions in real time. And
do you have any questions that you want to ask on the pod?
Let me think about it. Maybe next episode.
Okay.
Maybe next episode.
Cool. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be good. And a good experience to kind of get in the mix or whatever.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so last stage of our little trip, we went to Las Vegas. We performed there. It was really cool, man. Las Vegas is funny. I like Las Vegas. I really do. However, if you're looking close enough when you're in Las Vegas, most of the time, whatever you're looking at is like something that's shitty. It might seem sick, and if you look a little closer, it's like, oh, this is not that sick.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't explain it specifically, but even as simple as like the crazy shit on the strip, you know what I mean? Like whatever it might be. Now there are some new things there that are pretty impressive that I haven't seen yet, but like I saw on the plane, I could see the big orb. That's like the biggest
that's brand new,
LED
right?
screen in the world or whatever. I was there when it was being constructed. I'm supposed to go back in November too for something. Hopefully that works out. But anyway, it's just kind of like an interesting experience going to Las Vegas, seeing what the deal is. I don't know. I've been a few times now and
yeah,
I kind of like it, but it's definitely a novelty.
Yeah. My only experience going, I was 14. It was a family trip. That's a weird trip to go on with your family.
That's funny.
I was like,
There is kid stuff to do though, right?
yeah, there's like indoor amusement parks and things like that. We went to the Pawn
coasters.
Stars Pawn Shop, which I think is
Oh,
in Reno.
Cool.
We were waiting in line. We saw somebody get hit by a car waiting online.
What?
Yeah, there was a line going right around the corner, and somebody was driving like a really nice classic Chevy. I don't know how they lost control of the vehicle, but they ended up hitting a woman, and she ended up on the hood of the car for about 10 feet while he was pumping the brakes. And
What?
I forget how it got resolved. I kind of tuned it out.
Did she die?
No, she was fine. She was fine. She rolled right off, and then they fought.
That reminds me of Happy Gilmore. Remember, get me out of here. A lady just lands on the windshield of the car. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But dude, that's hilarious. Then they fought.
Well, then they had a verbal altercation. Then we went into the shop.
Holy fuck, dude.
But yeah, it was weird going to Vegas at a young age. I want to go back. I'm nervous about any friends wanting to do a bachelor party in Vegas. That scares me.
Well, it's just too like decadent.
I don't know. I'm not. I just loathe the idea of the flight home because I'm not a big gambler. I know I'm not too worried about like really fucking myself financially by doing any of like blackjack or anything like that. But just like the drinking, it's a 24/7 you're up kind of city, and I do feel like I'll spend a lot of money on alcohol if I go there and partying.
Totally.
So
We'll do one thing that I do anytime I enter a new casino. This is a fun little game to play if you end up back there. I open a loyalty account in every single casino.
you just go up to like the front desk.
No, if you sit down to gamble, they're like, do you have an account? And you say, no, but can you make me one? And then they'll make you one. And typically over time, so I have a backpack with all of like cards that I don't always have in my wallet, but that I always have with me when I travel. So in case I find myself in one of these situations, and a lot of the times, for example, Caesars owns a bunch of different casinos. So you might end up in a casino where you can just use your Caesars card or whatever. So I now have 3 or 4, and I was staying at the Cosmo, and I happened to have a loyalty account, and I just went downstairs. I was like, do I have any stuff on here? They're like, yeah, you have free breakfast, you have free this, free that. I was like, oh, sick, dude. So it's fun to kind of like
That's cool.
rack up loyalty shit. So shout out to this guy, DaO Philly. He's sort of like, I don't know how to describe him. He's sort of like a facilitator for high profile people.
That's a
If you want to do stuff, hit up DaO. He can make it happen. It's a pretty sweet. He's a really solid dude. Like I've met these kind of people, and a lot of the time they're like not that genuine. Like he happens to be like a genuine guy, solid hang, and I enjoy spending time with him. So he has a bunch of these like 3-wheel motorcycle things. Do you know those things?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, but there's 2 wheels in the front, 1 in back. You almost kind of like lean forward to drive it, and these things go fast. So we're about to drive around in these things, and there weren't enough for everybody. So a couple people had to like team up. So like one of our friends rode with me, happened to be a girl. There's no significance there. But she said to me, she's like, I want to ride with you because I know you're going to go the slowest. And I was like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, how have you profiled me that well that you know that I'm the one who's going to go the slowest? I'm like, all right, whatever. So we get on the motorcycle, and everybody is going pretty fast, and they like lose us, dude.
Oh.
So now we're just lost, and we're following them. So we don't know. There's no GPS on this thing. So now I'm like, don't know where we are. And in my head, I'm like, God, I'm like new ick unlocked guy who drives too slow on the motorcycle. Oh, I swear. And then we had to like find the group. We ended up finding them. It's fine. But like,
How'd you find the group?
so they like called, and I texted them like, hey, like we lost you guys. Can you just give us the address of the house? We were only on these things for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Not even a few minutes, like whatever, half hour or whatever. And they gave us the address, and then I would have to like look and memorize where I was going, drive for 5 minutes, make sure I didn't go by. It was just like a whole thing, dude. But these things went so fast, dude. I just wasn't comfortable. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm scared.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm scared to go faster. I'm really sorry. So
yeah, I open up Twitter and I see these. I open up Twitter. I see these terrible videos of these crazy car crashes and motorcycle crashes. Like,
dude,
it happens real fast.
Scary.
You have no protection.
Scary shit.
3 wheels or 2 wheels, no protection. How much time was in between your initial text message and the response from the guys with an update? Were you guys in like a limbo where you're like, oh, let's just, hang on 1 second. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
So I texted. Also, at one point, she's like, I saw them back there. And I was like, no, we didn't. But I also didn't want to like, I didn't know. I was like, maybe she did see him. So we went even further out of the way. Like we were going in the right direction. Anyway, I texted, I was like, I think it's at the bottom of this hill. We got to the bottom of the hill. And then I opened my phone and I have the voicemail. I have a voicemail and a text from them about it. Let's see if I think I have the voicemail.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I actually didn't listen to it because I was too embarrassed, but let's see what he says.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Hey, brother, it's Davo. Yeah, so my...
Well, we can bleep that. Is there more?
All right, we'll see you soon.
We don't need to include that.
that's
It's just him saying his address.
It's just very important details that do not want to be disclosed.
So, dude, the other thing too, I like quickly looked at it. I put the wrong address in. I missed it by one number. So at one point we just blew by the house that we were supposed to be at. You know, like it's a new area. Like it wasn't obvious. Like the streets were sort of gridded. So like I could have been anywhere, you know what I mean? And like you had to turn to be on, dude. So anyway, it was a whole thing, but lived to tell the tale. And in Vegas, I gambled a little bit. I lost. I was like, I allotted X amount of money to lose. I'll be honest. The money that I allotted myself was more than I was actually comfortable losing, which is not a great place to be in. I would say I lost like $300 or so. And I might have even been down $350 at one point. I'm like, that's painful, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would have preferred it to cap it at $150. Anyway, I went back the next night. I brought $100 more. I was like, I'm not going to miss out on the camaraderie. I'm just going to go and play. And I ended up getting it down to like, I was only down like 125 total, 150. Okay. And I was like, there we go.
Okay.
I think that it's a bad impulse to feel like you want to end. You need to take it a hand at a time. Like, don't change your behavior. You know what I mean? Don't be like, fuck, I'm down 400. I need to like make a huge bet to get out of this hole. Like, that's a dangerous impulse.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I don't play. I get too in my head and then I'm like, no, I need to change things.
Totally,
dude.
dude.
I stick to sports betting.
Yeah.
Dude, you brought up a really solid point. This is something that I feel like we don't have a solution for yet, but you were riding the motorcycle and you're also trying to look at the GPS. Do you ride the city bike at all?
Sometimes.
I have a really tough time when I'm riding the city bike. I don't know everything, like the back of my hand yet, so I always have my phone in my right hand and my hand on the handlebars.
Brooklyn's a little harder to navigate too, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's bigger. I don't know. Do you have this problem in Brooklyn more, or both, or what?
No, well, I know the streets are numbered, so it's like easy in Manhattan, but just
even just staying in the bike lanes, right?
Yeah, but sometimes there's roads that don't have, like the bike lane just stops, and then I'm like, where do I go? I don't see a sign. And so that can get really scary. Like, I'm very confident that I am good with my balance, but like, I'm going to take a spill one of these days. I feel like there should be something that you can just plant onto the city bike.
And when I was a kid, I didn't realize that the brakes, one was in the front, one was in the back.
Oh, God.
Like a mountain bike. So I was going to my friend Charlie's house, who I mentioned earlier in the episode. And he lived right down the street. I was holding a big like lemonade or something in my right hand. And I was riding the bike with my left hand, and I hit the front brake, and I just flew over the handlebars. I still have a scar from it, dude. It just made like a divot in my knee. You couldn't even stitch it because it was like a full hole, like just a circle.
Oh God.
I know. We have a lot of good emails, guys, so let's get into some of them. We have a lot of good engagement emails too, which I guess we'll kick off the next episode doing some of those, since there's like a theme there, and there's a few of them. So I want to include those. But this one there's a couple good ones here. First one's called "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe." I think that was said cheekily, like since it's a quote. I don't think the guy's literally calling the person a bitch, just because that's my suspicion.
Okay.
B, don't kill my vibe. Long-time listener, big fan of the pod. I want to get your input on a situation similar to Giulio's response regarding the brand of his Bad Bunny sunglasses. For any loyal listeners of the pod, earlier this year, I decided that I was going to buy the sunglasses from Bad Bunny's music video, Where She Goes. They were expensive. I ended up returning them, but I bought them. I wore them. Hillary would argue they wore me. Anyway, so this is what this guy's referring to. My wife and I live in California and go back to Minnesota to visit twice a year. I love having a good statement piece in the wardrobe. When we went back last summer, I wore such a shirt. We were having a barbecue, and one of my wife's best friends complimented the shirt and asked where I got it, stating, quote, "That is exactly the kind of shirt her husband would wear." Now, I didn't want to be a dick, but also didn't want to give up my source, as they only make a handful of shirts, and almost worse than that, almost worse than running into someone wearing the same shirt is seeing someone who says, "Oh, did you get that at XYZ?" I have one just like it. It kills the vibe, kills your swagger, and just takes all the air out of your sartorial tires. And side note, it is not his fucking style. So I lied. I told her I got it at a spot out in Cali. Later that day, her husband and I were chatting when he said, "By the way, I like that shirt. Where did you get it?" Once again, I lied, hoping that would be the end of it. Fast forward 2 months and my wife casually asks, "Remember that shirt you wore to the party back in Minnesota? Where did you get that?" I asked why. And she proceeds to tell me that same friend called her to ask me so she could get a similar shirt for her husband's upcoming birthday.
Oh my God.
Dude, we need to see this shirt.
Yeah.
Is it like the greatest shirt? Take a hint though, for real.
He totally meant "bitch, don't kill my vibe." That was meant with venom. That wasn't just the lyric.
That's funny. I told my wife that it is fucking weird and ultimately said no. I didn't want to tell them. She insisted I was being an asshole, to which I eventually caved and told her the brand. The next day, she said her friend thought they were too expensive and decided against the purchase.
Oh, sweet.
So now after all that, they probably think I'm an asshole. My wife said I'm being an asshole. An asshole or not, the style has been compromised. Do you guys think my response was ridiculous, or do you agree that the whole thing is just bizarre? In what scenarios is it appropriate to try to safeguard or at least not completely give away your lesser known sources for clothing, or is that just an asshole move altogether? I will say this, dude. I remember when I got the Bad Bunny sunglasses, and by the way, I got the wrong ones. I got the wrong ones. I got these like Acme ones, and it was actually another brand. I think there was like another brand that was actually much more expensive. The ones I bought and then returned were like $600 or $700. The real ones are like $2,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, but I refused to say where they were from. And in the comments, people got really pissed that I was like gatekeeping.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I was surprised at that reaction. But dude, 100%, man. A magician doesn't show his tricks. Yeah. If you have a sick item, you do not have any obligation to tell people where you got it from until you've fully retired it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. What do you think, Ryan?
In this particular situation, that's just a very curb your enthusiasm moment. Totally. I feel like after you give the answer like, "Oh, I got it in a spot in California," they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool, like your shirt," and they wouldn't come back. But they came back again, and then they came back again, and now the guy has the egg on his face, and he feels and he looks like the asshole. I would have done the same thing 10 times over.
100%.
It's if you find a shirt that makes you feel like you like, and the swagger that you feel when you're wearing it, keep that to yourself.
100%.
I don't think you're an asshole if you don't want to share a brand that you really like.
100%.
Yeah. I have a clothing brand that I love, and I don't tell anyone about it. And people ask where I got it, and I just say, I don't know. Like, I forgot I found it online. Some Instagram store. Just say something vague to throw off the scent. But yeah, saying I got it in a spot in California is a great response. It just sucks that they just kept coming back. It must have been that nice of a shirt. Well, dude,
that's true. And what we're learning here is that even if you have an excuse, sometimes people will not stop at that.
I won't take it.
So if you're like, I got it from an Instagram store, they might be like, which one?
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, I don't know. They'd be like, well, can you check? Or if you say my girlfriend got it for me, they'll be like, can you ask her where? But what you need to say is, I got it from my friend. And they say, can you ask your friend where you got it? And you have to say, my friend's dead. He tragically passed away.
And then walk away.
And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, yeah, thank God I have this to remember him by.
Yeah.
Though I don't know where he got it.
Oh, that's great.
And I'll never know.
Yeah, just throw that in your back pocket. That's funny.
Throw that in the back pocket.
Oh.
All right, dude. Well, oops, the podcast. You know us, you love us, hopefully. Buy some merch if you haven't. If you have any stuff that you'd like us to sell, let us know. Buy our coffee. Love a little fuel in our lives. Reboot Eco. Support all of our sponsors. And if you want to catch us on the road, I am going to be in Seattle Hereafter at the Crocodile on October 14th. I believe it's the 25th and 26th of October. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. November 1st and 2nd, I'm in Liberty Township, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. Then St. Pete, 10th and 11th, West Jordan, Utah, 17th and 18th. I'm getting ready to film a special. Once we have it locked in, I will announce it because I've learned my lesson about announcing things prematurely. A couple of the cities where I've been telling you I'm coming and it hasn't worked out yet, I circle back with my team. I'm trying to make sure that happens soon. I appreciate you guys. And Ryan, what about you? What's going on?
Yeah, check out Giulio's website for more info. No announcements right now. I'll post stuff on my Instagram story, but hopefully I'll have some fun things to add at the end of the episode. Check me out on social. Ryan is really polite on Instagram and TikTok. On Twitter, Ryan is polite, and email us at oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, guys.